1994 is one of the greatest years in the history of cinema, with films like Pulp Fiction, The Shawshank Redemption, Lion King, and Best Picture winner Forrest Gump. This year has been cemented in film history. Let's break down every single film worth talking about. Hello, movie friends. Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost podcast, the ultimate film and TV podcast. And today, we're going to be breaking down, quite possibly, the greatest year in film history, the year of 1994. There are so many classics from this year alone, as well as amazing debuts by iconic filmmakers. The list of good movies in this is insane. It's absolutely absurd. We did 1999 recently. I think that's unbeatable, honestly, because there's so many good movies, but 1994, we literally have some of the best movies ever made that I can't wait to talk about. But how about we start talking about some big events that happened in cinema in 1994? What
was going on back then,
man?
In February.
By the way, this is almost 30 years ago. I feel old. We were born in 90, so we were 4. On February 15th, Viacom acquired 50.1% of Paramount Communications for $9.75 billion, following a 5-month battle with QVC. So they got control of Paramount. Didn't know that.
So this is when it started. Yeah, it's Viacom has owned Paramount for a while. I didn't know that they started in 1994 buying it.
On March 21st, Steven Spielberg won his first Academy Award for Best Director for Schindler's List for the films that came out, obviously, in 1993. On April 14th, Gone with the Wind becomes the first movie ever to air on the cable channel Turner Classic Movies.
Oh, wow. So that was the first day it ever aired?
Yeah.
Turner Classic Movies, April 14th, 1994. Wow.
On June 7th, Pierce Brosnan was officially announced as the 5th actor to play James Bond.
What a day.
I know, right?
And what a Bond.
What a Bond.
What a Bond.
He's a legend. On June 10th, Speed was released, and this is important because it was one of the highest-grossing films of the year, as well as it launched Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock into legit superstardom.
Yeah, that was a huge movie. Huge.
On June 5th...
It's a great theme.
On June 15th, The Lion King opened in New York and Los Angeles and went on to become Buena Vista's highest-grossing film and highest-grossing animated film, and obviously a legendary movie.
Who bought Buena Vista? Because that's not a company anymore, is it? Yeah.
On July 1st, Val Kilmer was officially announced as the next actor to portray Batman, following the departure of Michael Keaton.
I bet Michael Keaton left because Burton wasn't involved.
Probably.
Because it says abrupt departure. Yeah, that's interesting. Val Kilmer was a solid Bruce Wayne in Batman. He was good.
On July 6th, Forrest Gump was released, and it became Paramount Pictures' highest-grossing film of all time, until I'm sure Top Gun Maverick just decimated it. And then on December 29th, Buena Vista Pictures Distribution becomes the first distributor to have grosses in the United States and Canada in a year exceed $1 billion. Nowadays, if you don't do that, that's a disappointment.
Now they're on fire if they don't make $1 billion.
Clean up the whole studio. So those are some of the big events that happened in the year of film for 1994.
And then for awards, so the 1994 Academy Awards, which were for...
It was the 1995 Academy Awards for the 1994 movies.
So the films that came out in 1994 that won Oscars the next spring, we have Forrest Gump, obviously won Best Picture. Robert Zemeckis won Best Director for Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks won Best Actor for Forrest Gump. Jessica Lange won Best Actress for Blue Sky. And then Quentin Tarantino won the original screenplay Oscar for Pulp Fiction with his writing partner. Excellent screenplay.
And let's go over the highest-grossing films of 1994. Number 1, we have The Lion King grossed $763 million worldwide. Number 2, Forrest Gump grossed $677 million worldwide. True Lies at third place it grossed $378 million.
Don't mess with James Cameron, man. Even with a random spy movie, it makes almost $400 million.
Well, I mean, it helps when Arnold's in it.
Yeah, it does. Definitely does.
The Mask was in fourth place, a comedy. Who would have thought? With $351 million. Speed came in fifth place with $350 million. The Flintstones in sixth place with $341 million.
Now I know why they made a sequel.
Another Jim Carrey movie came in seventh place. Dumb and Dumber grossed $247 million. If that came out to $600 million.
Oh my God. When
That's
you adjust it
absurd.
for inflation, $600 million for Dumb and Dumber. Wow. It's hard to wrap your head around how big these movies were because the numbers are so small compared to what we're used to nowadays with the adjusted inflation and how inflation has risen the value of has dropped the value of the dollar.
And how expensive ticket prices are.
How expensive tickets are. When you look at the number of 247 million, you're like, hey, that's good. But when you adjust it for inflation, it's like, holy crap, that's insanely successful.
Number 8, we had 4 Weddings and a Funeral, made $245 million. Number 9, Interview with the Vampire Chronicles, made $223 million. And Clear and Present Danger made $215 million.
My boy Harrison Ford is Jack Ryan, baby.
Had to make
Let's
the list.
go.
Wow, the list.
Jack Ryan movie made the top 10. That's amazing.
It's wild to see how many movies that aren't like action flicks making huge box offices here. Really, for action movies,
comedies
True Lies and Speed are the only action
Clear
movies.
and Present Danger is an action movie.
Yeah, you're right. So 3 action movies in the top 10 box office of the year.
I'm just
animated movie is number 1 at the box office. That's wild.
That's not surprising to me. I mean, Super Mario made $1.4 billion this year.
True.
But what's surprising to me is the comedies being up here. You have The Mask, The Flintstones, Dumb and Dumber, and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. That's 4 comedies in the top 10 of box office. Isn't that insane?
I mean, Forrest Gump's kind of a comedy. It's
but
it's a drama.
It's more of a drama epic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it it's funny, but I would call it's not a comedy. But
The Lion King's kind of a comedy.
It has a musical number. But it's just amazing that comedies were making that much money back then, because now it's a comedy's lucky if it makes $50 million.
It's like the worst performing genre right now.
It is the worst performing genre, I would say.
That's why there's so few movies that come out.
Comedy and coming of age drama are I'd say the lowest performing genres right now. That's wild that 4 of them are in the top 10. That's an impressive thing to do.
Interview with the Vampire made a ton of money too.
That makes a lot of sense.
You had Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in a movie, so of course people are going to turn out.
All that hair, man.
All that. But the Flintstones, the live action Flintstones.
I remember liking that a lot, but I always wondered why they made a second one, because it's the second one's terrible, but it's because the first one made a boatload of money, a truckload of money.
It's a lot of money.
And then True Lies. This was a time when they weren't sequelizing everything, so True Lies, if it came out today, it would have become a franchise. But James Cameron, I think what makes that movie special is that it's a one-off. You know,
I miss the one-off actioners.
I miss them. Yeah,
it's kind of romantic. Just like one-off action movie. Oh, we don't need to make another.
But that's a really interesting top 10. Very different from what we're used to. Now, there are some really great film director debuts in 1994 from very notable filmmakers that we all know, whose first films came out in 1994. So Danny Boyle's first film, Shallow Grave, came out in 1994. And then Peter Farrelly directed Dumb and Dumber. That was his debut as well. That's a great debut.
Those are both great debuts.
Ewan
stars in Shallow Grave. Ewan McGregor.
Oh, yeah. Frank Darabont has arguably one of the greatest film debuts of all time with The Shawshank Redemption. Takashi Miike, the great Japanese director, his first film came out in 1994. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Daisan no Gokudo.
Not bad. Sounds pretty good. He made Audition, everybody.
And 13 Assassins. Next up, David O. Russell's first film, Spanking the Monkey, came out in 1994.
All right, now I think that all makes sense.
Yeah, if you don't know what that movie is, it's about incest between a son and his mom.
Makes a lot of sense.
Steven Seagal's directorial debut.
Seagal. Not Seagal, Anthony.
Steven Seagal's. Steven Seagal's directorial debut on Deadly Ground came out. This is the first film he directed.
I never knew he even directed movies.
That must have been an interesting set, to say the least. Steven Seagal directing. Oh, my God.
Bunch of roundhouse kicks all day.
Kevin Smith's first film, Clerks, came out in 1994.
That's a really good movie.
What a great debut. Very, very micro-budget film. He was part of that class of filmmakers of DIY, do-it-yourself, make a small film and try to get it seen. Ben Stiller, one of our great comedic directors, his first film, Reality Bites, came out, starring Ethan Hawke.
And isn't Winona in this?
Winona, and Ben's in it as well. It's got comedy in it, but it's more of a romantic drama.
Yeah, comedy, drama, romance.
Then Kelly Reichardt, excellent independent filmmaker. Her first film, River of Grass, came out in 1994. And then Doug Liman, his first film, Getting In, came out. He's since done movies like The Bourne Identity and Edge of Tomorrow.
That's a really cool list. Bunch of great filmmakers there.
I believe Doug Liman's second film was not Swingers, The Maid.
Yeah.
And Swingers. I think he made Swingers. He made Swingers.
Favreau didn't direct it, he just wrote it.
Oh, Doug Liman's film after that was Swingers.
You're so money, baby. You don't even know how money you are.
Great set of filmmakers to start out.
Big time. Now, let's get into 1994, the movies that came out.
Whoa.
And we're going to start with our top 10, and then we'll go by genre after that. Drama, comedy, action. And surprising, like, there's a lot of movies. There's not many science fiction movies that came out this year. Not that many horror movies came out this year.
Yeah, you're right.
Science fiction and horror were not sexy in 1994.
Now they're all the rage now, but comedy was still very big in the 90s, as well as just straight up like action movies were still family movies.
A lot of family
lots
movies,
of
a lot
family
of comedies.
movies.
You'll
Yeah.
see like kid family movies.
I feel like the studios were making movies that they knew would be good family buys on VHS.
well, families were going to the movies.
yeah,
I
that's
feel-
true. Yeah,
I mean, families still go to the movies, but it was more of an event. Like a lot of families, that wasn't a thing you did regularly. Was going to the movies, and there's like 8 movies on this list that a whole family could go see.
I gotta make a change to this top 10 real quick.
All right, what are you gonna change?
I'm gonna change number 9.
It's an Oscar-nominated movie.
My top 10 though.
Okay, you go ahead and put it in there. So, let's see what Anthony changes. Make sure you replace it down in the list below. So Anthony doesn't like the top 10 list I came up with apparently.
Well, what do you think about this one I just put in?
Refresh my page, Anthony. We're on Google Docs right now.
I mean, Four Weddings and a Funeral is awesome, but just because it was nominated and won doesn't mean it's top 10 in my book.
I don't have it updated, man. On my Google Drive.
Oh, I don't have my service on.
So Anthony's trying to make updates without Wi-Fi, apparently. Just tell me, I'll do it right now.
Karate Kid.
It's not it's the next Karate Kid.
Oh, it's the next Karate Kid?
Yeah, get out. You could have just said that at the
Oh
beginning.
my God, my
Instead of-
bad.
The
My
next
bad.
Karate Kid is not top 10.
My bad.
Dude, Karate Kid's an 80s movie, baby. Come on.
My bad.
You
I
know
skimmed
know
it.
better than
I
that.
skimmed it.
I thought you were a Karate Kid fan.
Anyways, let's get into
Oh,
the
the Karate Kid, it's like 86, right?
It's
1984.
Yeah.
You were 10 years off with that, bro.
Anyways,
allora.
let's
So
move.
don't mess with my top 10.
I won't. It's a great top 10.
Thank you. Let's start with the top 10 that I made. Number 1 is Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah.
One of the greatest movies ever made. Maybe Quentin Tarantino's best movie. He won Best Original Screenplay. It's such a sensational film. It's something that's really important to us as film lovers growing up. You know, the whole film bro thing. It's more than that. I mean, this movie just kind of changed the way I looked at cinema. He changed movies forever. In the 1990s independent
Change things forever.
You have to do that every time. I'm never going to say that again because every episode you do that. Anyways, Pulp Fiction, it changed cinema forever because it was during this 1990s independent film boom. We have all these great young directors coming in, and it was really exciting what they were doing to movies in Pulp Fiction. It's the juice, man. It's great.
At number 2, we have Frank Darabont's The Shawshank Redemption, which is one of the most beloved films of all time. It's number 1 on IMDb. It's in the top 10 of Letterboxd, not number 1 though. I think it's in the top 5.
I think so.
It's amazing to believe that's a debut film from a director because of how beloved it is. And it's an interesting story where Stephen King wrote the short story and Frank Darabont wrote him a letter asking to use the film to write a screenplay. Stephen King loved the letter so much that he gave the rights to The Shawshank Redemption to Frank Darabont for $1.
Sold it, Anthony.
Sold it for $1.
It's pretty awesome. Everyone's like, I'm going to try that.
So that's a policy Stephen King has. If he thinks someone's very passionate about the project, writes to a book or a short story he wrote for $1.
I mean, it's an awesome policy. It really
Yeah.
is. But I mean, that's also probably why there's so many goddamn Stephen King projects that get made into movies and TV shows the last 30 years. There's 7 a year. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I
They're
doubt
still
it-
getting made.
They're still getting made.
Yeah.
They are.
There's like little ones.
Salem's
still-
Lot
Yeah.
reboot's coming out in 2024.
I feel like the 90s were peak Stephen King adaptations.
Oh, for sure, dude. He's
He-
the hottest writer out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
so
on
many.
fire.
On TV movies, TV miniseries, and then films.
I mean, it's the TV movies, like, those were huge. Number 3, we have Leon the Professional, or Leon as it's called in Europe. This is an excellent film. It's kind of a coming-of-age movie mixed with assassins and hitmen. Great performances. Gary Oldman's a terrific villain in this movie. Natalie Portman, so young in this role, but so talented and charismatic and carrying so many sequences on her shoulders as like a 10-year-old. It's insane. So precocious. It's an awesome movie. It's an all-timer for sure. And
it's got some great action. Excellent action. Next up, we got at number 4, Forrest Gump. an all-time American classic featuring iconic Tom Hanks and his legendary performance as. This is just one of my favorite movies to watch. Feel good, nostalgia. It hits all of the right beats. It's hilarious. It's dramatic. It's romantic. Sweet. It's very endearing. And we have an amazing cast of characters. This is a wonderful film. I think it definitely deserved Best Picture. There's that like joke Jonah Hill says, remember, and this is the end where you probably hate like universally loved movies.
They're at the pool party and they're making fun of Jay Baruchel because they calling him a hipster. It's Emma Watson and Craig Robinson. They're like, you probably hate universally loved movies, don't you? What do you think of Forrest Gump? It's a horrendous piece of shit.
Exactly, that's it.
Life's like a box of chocolates.
Sorry,
I can quote that whole movie.
Apparently, you went to the deep tracks.
I had to correct you, man.
But it deserves the Best Picture, I think. I think it's just become such a paramount classic.
Yeah, I mean, the Academy obviously chose Forrest Gump over something like Pulp Fiction or Shawshank or Leon because of the Hollywood classic feel to it.
Yeah.
It's a sensational film, one of the most feel-good movies of all time.
Yeah.
And fucking Tom Hanks is a legend, of course. Number 5, we have one of the greatest animated films of all time, back when they were still drawing a lot of them. The Lion King. It's epic. Everybody loves this. Hans Zimmer won an Oscar for the score. Elton John won an Oscar for Best Original Song. It's just one of those movies that I feel like everybody has seen. Everyone has seen The Lion King.
In every country.
Everywhere, man. It might be one of the most popular movies ever made.
I think it's top 3 animated films of all time. It might be number 1. I think it's number 1. Number 1 animated film of all time.
It's a bold statement, Anthony.
Lion King.
The Spider-Verse people are coming for you right now. They're coming for you.
I don't know. The Spider-Verse, they slowed down the last couple months.
Whoa, Anthony, we're trying to get 5-star ratings and reviews here, all right? They're not going to want to listen to us if you keep saying stuff like that. I love Spider-Verse, everybody. Spider-Verse over Lion King all day.
Over Lion King.
I'm trying to get those ratings. Lion King sucks. Spider-Verse, baby.
What a sellout.
I got a Spider-Verse tattoo right here across my chest.
We have a Spider-Verse billboard. Lion King sucks. It's nice to know you completely sold out.
I mean, got to do what you got to do, baby.
All right, next up at number 6, we have a wonderful Chinese film, Chungking Express, from the legendary Wong Kar-wai. This is such a fun, romantic, and unique story. I really adore this film. I love the filmmaking. I love the actors. And also we have probably one of the most charming characters ever put on screen thanks to Faye Wong and her infectious charisma. It's a wonderful movie.
Number 7, we have Quiz Show. We actually talked about this recently for a little bit on the show. An incredible movie directed by Robert Redford, starring Ralph Fiennes and John Turturro. If you've never seen this one, I cannot recommend it enough. It's about a quiz show where there is some nefarious stuff going on behind the scenes of the show for one of the contestants as a new one comes in. And it's excellent, it's dramatic, it's funny. It's so well made and crafted.
I love that movie. It's really great. Next up, we mentioned it earlier, Kevin Smith's debut, Clerks. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm not supposed to be here today.
This is a fantastic film. It kind of was an early introduction to the idea of mumblecore. Characters hanging out and chatting, because that's a lot of life. And I remember this being on a lot in our household. Our older brothers adored Clerks. It's a really fantastic film, and Kevin Smith really did something new with this.
Yeah, and he was a really important filmmaker in the 90s because of not only the movies he made, but the movies he got made or helped get made. Like Good Will Hunting wouldn't have happened without Kevin Smith. That's why he's a producer on that movie. So, moving on to number 9, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, the movie that Anthony tried to replace with The Next Karate Kid. Apparently, Anthony's top 10, The Next Karate Kid is an all-timer, apparently.
Why is it on the Letterboxd 100? I don't understand.
Now, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. It's a great comedy drama. It was directed by Mike Newell, who Goblet of Fire filmmaker made, and it's solid, it's funny, it's dramatic, and it won an Oscar or nominated for a couple Oscars, actually. We put it number 9.
Solid. At number 10, we have the great French film, Three Colors Red, which is part of the holy trinity of colors that all came out in the same year. But red is slightly, I think, gets over the edge over the other two.
That's why I put it
slightly.
Yeah.
It's really phenomenal. It's a wonderful film, very incredibly well written and directed. The theme of red, the theme of suspicion, of trust, judgment is a huge theme in the film. It's a very powerful movie. Highly recommend checking it out.
Drama?
Drama is a good category to start with.
Don't want the drama.
Drama.
What's that from? The Office. It's Andy. When him and Aaron are starting to date, but they don't want anyone in the office to know.
Your Office
So
references
he's-
are too specific.
So they're trying to keep it secret, and he's like, I just don't want the drama.
Oh, yeah.
So he's trying to hide it.
He's making drama.
He's being mean to
Yeah.
Aaron. Like, Aaron sucks, and like they're trying to be outwardly not in a relationship. And then at the end of the episode, she's like, you love drama. He's like, I know, I'm such a drama queen.
I remember now.
And then they make their relationship public. This is
Doesn't he like announce it in front of everyone?
Yeah, they're at a roller skating rink, and he says it on the microphone at the, the toy
yeah.
gift
I
section
remember,
where the ticket section. So this isn't an episode about The Office, so let's get into drama from 1994. We're not going to include the movies we talked about in the top 10 on any of these lists, so if you don't hear them, that's why. But drama, we're going to start with Interview with a Vampire. This is a really solid drama and dark vampire film. We have Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise in the lead roles. Tom plays a vampire who's been a vampire for centuries, and Brad plays a newly turned vampire by that guy who has to now deal with the moral qualms of what he is as this monster and killing machine, while Tom Cruise's character loves it. It's really solid. Great production design as well.
I mean, also an incredible breakout performance from Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
She is remarkable in this movie. Like, oh my God. Seeing how ahead of the game she was.
Her and Natalie in 94,
Yeah.
man, they were great.
She becomes like such a vicious character. It's great.
That's why I'm very excited for what young actress gets cast in a very important role in Dune Part 2, because I think there are so many great child performances that really make movies, these two specifically.
Absolutely. Next up, we have another Brad Pitt film, Legends of the Fall, which is a great film about war and its effects on the lives of not just the men and women involved in war, but on their families as well. Brad Pitt plays one of the sons of a farming family, and the impact of war is stretched throughout the entire community as well as deeply within their family. It's a tragic, beautiful, and powerful tale.
And then we have
The hair, too.
The hair.
The hair.
3 Colors White and 3 Colors Blue, which are part of the trilogy for 3 Colors, and obviously 3 Colors Red, which we talk about. These white star Julie Delpy, and blue stars Juliette Binoche, your girl, right? They're excellent. Really great movies, very dramatic. I prefer blue over white, but they're all really terrific, and red's excellent as well. That's why we put it in the top 10. But if you love French cinema, these are essential to it.
Yeah, and they're very heavily themed. So blue is about grief and depression, and then white is about basically revenge in a way. It's a great revenge tale. Next up, we have Heavenly Creatures starring Kate Winslet. I think it was her debut film, I believe. It's a great British film, great British drama.
Directed by Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, that's right.
Peter
That's
Jackson.
right.
Next up, we have Burnt by the Sun, which was the international Best Picture winner coming out of, I believe it was Russia. Let me double check that real quick.
I love that
Burnt by the
title,
Sun.
Burnt by the
It's
Sun.
an excellent title. Yeah, it's a good band name too.
It is a great band,
Right?
right? Burnt by the Sun. Oh my God.
Let's read a quick synopsis about this. So, in the Soviet Union in 1936, so it is a Russian film, hold on, I clicked the wrong button.
You got it, man.
Shadow of Stalin's repressions lie on a famous revolution hero. The accusations of being a foreign spy are nonsense, and all known that, but a slow process of his life down. I think this was translated from Russian to English, and it
it's
did
very
not work
confusing.
out. So it's a World War II film set in Soviet Union, basically.
So that was really
Oh, no.
confusing.
Pre-World War II, 1936,
Gotcha.
post-World War I. Yeah, that was definitely translated. So I put that through Google Translate. It did not come out well. Just Google's just like, here's some shit. Russian to English, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God. Next up, we have Black Beauty, which is actually a horse-centric movie. It's actually follows the perspective of a horse and the people who train and raise it, and it's actually narrated by the horse.
It was also directed by a horse.
Starring Sean Bean.
Sean Bean's the horse.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Next up, we got Crooklyn. This is a Spike Lee joint, one of his early films coming out of the 1990s.
Sorry, I'm still laughing.
That was a good joke. This is an early one he did with Delroy Lindo. Can't recommend it enough. We talked about it for sure on our Spike Lee Spotlight. If you haven't checked out that director Spotlight episode,
that was a good episode.
Go look it up. And we
That
talked about
was good.
Crooklyn for a little bit. It's a good one.
Excellent movie. Next up, we have Eat, Drink, Man, Woman from Ang Lee over in China. We actually talked about this on our favorite international films episode with Marta McFly. This is a great foodie movie.
And our food movie we talked about.
Yeah, and our food movies. You're right. Excellent. So this movie basically follows a family. The patriarch, the father, is a cook, and he cooks for his family. His 3 daughters, however, they have very estranged relationships with him and with each other. And the film follows basically them trying to work things out and try to remain a family even though they're all growing apart. It's a great, wonderful film.
Next up, we have Santantango. Have you seen this movie?
I have not, but it was on the Letterboxd 100, I remember.
Yeah, and I put it here. It was on that Letterboxd 100. It's 100% Rotten Tomatoes, and it's an 8.2 on IMDb. So this is a movie that I'm definitely going to want to check out. It's coming out of... Which country is it coming out of? It is from Hungary. So it's a Hungarian film.
Next up, we got another Tarantino film, screenplay by Tarantino for Natural Born Killers. It was directed by Oliver Stone. It stars Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis as a couple of psychotic serial killers on the lam. It's pretty wild and very out there for an Oliver Stone movie.
I thought it was so cool growing up. It's like very much Thelma and Louise, except a little darker and even
crazier.
Kind of like what's the Terrence Malick movie called?
Badlands.
Badlands. Excellent movie as well. Next up we have
Excellent skiing. Excellent skiing.
Excellent skiing.
You said it exactly like him.
Thanks, I appreciate that. That's talented Mr. Ripley. Next up we have Hoop Dreams. This also came out in 1994. This has a huge rating of 8.3 on IMDb. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. It's about 2 inner city kids in Chicago struggling to become basketball players on the road from going to college to professional.
Next up, we have a previous adaptation of Little Women, this time directed by Gillian Anderson and starring Winona Ryder, Kirsten Dunst, Susan Sarandon, Claire Danes, as well as Christian Bale plays Laurie,
Yeah.
the role that Chalamet played. So it's interesting, both of them early in their careers. I think they have very similar trajectories in terms of career trajectories. He played that role, and Chalamet played it recently in Greta Gerwig's great adaptation. And Winona Ryder is really fantastic in this film, and then Saoirse did a wonderful job with Greta's.
Next up, we have Wyatt Earp. Now, Wyatt Earp is about, obviously, the Western celebrity from the Old West. It's played by Kevin Costner. I'm talking weird right now. I don't know what's going on. Kevin Costner plays Wyatt Earp in this great autobiographical film.
Great
It's directed
stash.
by Lawrence Kasdan.
He's the Star Wars screenwriter.
Yeah, he did. And
He's directed some good movies.
Star
too.
Wars and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So he directed this movie, Wyatt Earp, basically about the story of him, from his life going up and becoming this myth of a thrilling gunslinger in the West. Romance, adventure, heroic action. It's a solid movie.
What a mustache, too.
What a stash, yeah.
Top tier Kurt Russell mustache. He's had some good ones in different roles.
Kurt Russell?
I'm sorry, not Kurt Russell.
Kevin
Fucking
Costner,
Never
Anthony.
mind.
Do you even listen to anything I say?
Moving on.
Never does.
I think it's because has Kurt played Wyatt Earp also?
Probably. Wyatt Earp's definitely been adapted.
Maybe that's what threw me off.
We have a banger next. Angels in the Outfield, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Danny Glover, and Matthew McConaughey. McConaughey plays one of the players, right? In the outfield,
center fielder.
In the outfield, or center field or right field.
One of them.
He's right field because that's where the kid's sitting when.
Yeah, it could be.
But it's a great movie. It's a great baseball movie about angels helping
about
the
cheating.
Angels. Yeah, it's about cheating. apparently Jesus is okay with cheating.
God doesn't mind if you cheat in
If you
baseball.
suck, he'll cheat for you. So basically, yeah,
It's okay to cheat.
it's
That's the moral of the story. It's okay to cheat.
classic baseball story where it's the worst team in the league. They need a little help from angels.
But it's a great kids movie. We
It is.
loved it growing up. It's about angels. It's about this kid who prays to let the Angels be good this year, and then real Angels come down and help them play.
Why don't you pray for something
great.
real, like cure cancer?
What a selfish
What a
thing.
waste of a
What is God doing in this movie?
What a waste of a wish, JGL.
Those Angels could be doing other shit than playing baseball.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you could have been like, please God, cure cancer. No, actually, I just want the Angels to be good. It's such a fanatic thing, man.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Next up, we have another childhood classic. We have Lassie, live action adaptation. We grew up with this one.
Sorry, I should have put this in the action category.
I mean, we all know Lassie. It's Lassie. It was a famous show, been adapted many times, and this was a live action adaptation that we grew up with. We watched this a lot for sure. All right, let's get into action. That was a kind of a downward trend with drama.
I mean, I did it like kind of best to worst, sort of, in a way. Sorry, Lassie.
All right, we're gonna start off with The Crow, which was an awesome film. Brandon Lee starred as Eric Draven. This is really well received too. 7.5 on IMDb, 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty successful. 94 million. That's about almost 300 million adjusted for inflation. It was an awesome film. I remember thinking it was so cool as a kid, and it does still hold up. It's great.
Next, we have Speed, baby. I can't believe this movie's 1994.
Wow.
Holy crap.
If you think about it, they look so baby-faced.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
What a legendary film for these two stars. Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are some of the biggest names in Hollywood, and this is wasn't their first movie, obviously, but it really launched them to superstardom because it was such a huge success. And then we have Jeff Daniels in there, and Dennis Hopper is the villain who's got this crazy terrorist scheme of putting a bomb on a city bus, and Keanu jumps on it to try to save it. It's an amazing movie. It's like the perfect action movie. I love Speed. I fell in love with Sandra Bullock when I was a kid because of this movie as well.
You know, she had a crush on Keanu while filming.
Yeah, I've read that. It's very cute, and that
they would have been a great couple.
But he's such a nice guy. He's like, I don't want to I
don't want to impose.
Yeah, I mean they're on set, they're working. Yeah, imagine if they got together.
They would have been a great couple.
Very beautiful kids. So the most beautiful kids alive.
Next up, we got True Lies from Jim Cameron, starring
you know him, Jim Cameron,
Jimmy Cameron guy,
my guy Jimmy. So my friend Jim made this movie,
starring Arnold and now Oscar winner Jamie Lee Curtis. Arnold plays a spy who's keeping his job a secret from his wife. And then as her suspicions grow, she also wants to live a more vivacious and exciting life. So she kind of puts into the series of events of accidentally getting involved with his profession. Really, really great, all-time action comedy. It's fantastic.
It's an epic one. Then we have Clear and Present Danger, a Jack Ryan movie starring Harrison Ford as well as Willem Dafoe, baby. James Earl Jones. What a cast. It was directed by Philip Noyce, and it's just a great action flick. Jack Ryan movies. Harrison did a couple, right? He did two?
He's in two.
Of them.
They're great. His Jack Ryan movies are awesome. They're really good. I fucking love them. I think he was my favorite Jack Ryan.
Yeah,
Alec Baldwin did a pretty good job. Chris Pine, pretty good, but Harrison's just Harrison.
Forget about Krasinski.
I've never seen that one.
I watched an episode of it. It's all right.
Apparently, it got really good, and people like it now.
I just don't watch 4 seasons in. I just don't watch a ton of TV. But yeah, they got.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm happy for anything that he does. We're huge John Krasinski fans.
All right, next up, we have a Jackie Chan film, Drunken Master 2, part of his Drunken Master franchise.
No, just the Legend of the Drunken Master.
Legends of the Drunken Master.
You're putting in movies that didn't even come out in 94, bro.
My bad.
The Legend of the Drunken Master, the OG.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see.
What are you looking at over
there?
I
Googled it, and number 2 came up.
he goes to Google. Google didn't make the list, Anthony. I did.
No, I'm just looking for stats.
Statistics, baby.
7.5 on IMDb and an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is a really fun movie.
It is. It's a great one. And then he's the modern-day Charlie Chaplin. And this movie proves it. I mean, playing a drunken kung fu master, it's awesome. And then we have Street Fighter, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, which makes no sense because he's French and has a crazy thick accent and becomes like the all-American hero.
I can tell you why he got cast.
Because the producer didn't speak. He didn't speak English, right?
Yeah. So it was the producers of the video game they knew he was a big star and liked his movies, and then one of the producers of the film, when they were like, "We want Jean-Claude Van Damme," he asked them, "What about his accent?" And they were like, "What accent?"
Oh, because the audio's dubbed.
Yeah, it's all dubbed.
Gotcha.
So they didn't know he even had an accent.
Or it's just captions.
Exactly.
They couldn't pick up on an accent.
100%. Yeah. So they didn't even realize that he didn't speak English as a first language.
Yeah, because he speaks fine.
Yeah, I mean, he
English,
speaks fluently, but
thick
he's
ass
got
accent.
He's got a very thick accent.
Yeah, and he's got an American flag tattoo on the bicep. It works. It works.
That was their way around it. How do we show that he's American? Fucking just give him a fucking flag tattoo.
It works, man. I don't even care. When I was a kid, I didn't care. Like, who cares? There's another movie on this list in comedy we'll get to in a minute that's got a weird situation like that, except even weirder because an adult plays a child in the movie, but it works.
But there's also another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie up next. He was huge in the 90s. He was a superstar. We adored the guy. Time Cop.
Yeah.
Was an awesome sci-fi action movie. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but it is just like a great shut your brain off kind of movie. We watched it all the time. It's a really cool movie.
And then we had another classic for action movies.
Oh my God.
We have Double Dragon, which is based off the video game starring, the two characters of Billy and Jimmy Lee, two brothers. One wears red, one wears blue. This one's weird. It's fun. It's kind of got like a little bit of that Super Mario Bro movie, that original.
You know what it feels like? It feels like Total Recall.
Kind of
it's like a Verhoeven
all of those
movie.
are like sort of in there. It's just like this weird kind of wannabe Cronenberg horror aesthetic with the action comedy at the same time. It's like a circus genre of a movie.
But it fucking works.
It works, and it's awesome.
It's a great movie.
This is the one with the medallions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the medallions.
Oh, yeah. There's two pieces.
Yeah, the one medallion. Man, I love this movie.
Dude, this was on repeat. We
Billy
wore that VHS out.
Billy and Jimmy.
Did we dress up as them in Halloween one year?
I did with a friend in college.
Oh, that's a great costume.
Yeah, it was. Man, I love that movie. Now, we only have a couple genres left, so how about we run to our intermission, Anthony, and then we'll get back to comedy and whatever else we have left.
Sounds great.
Now, before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost podcast and help our show grow is to share us with your movie friends and family members. If you know anyone who loves movies, send them the show, send them this episode, send them a specific episode you think they'll love. It's the best way for a podcast to flourish, and we need your help. You can also leave a 5-star rating or review on Spotify and Apple. Apple, you can leave a written review, which we love to read off on the show. I'll get to one in a minute, but these ratings really help us get seen by new listeners and new people on the platforms. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. It's a subscription-based form of support. We have 5 different tiers of membership, and they all come with awesome perks, including 2 bonus episodes every single week of the show. Every tier has access. We have $2 tier, $5, $10, $25, and $100. Every tier has a different set of perks, and they get better and better as you go up, obviously. That $10 tier gets you access to our Discord. $25, you get a custom episode. You pick a topic, and we'll do it for you. $100, there's so many goddamn perks in that one, I don't have time to run through it all. We'd be here for like an hour because there's so many great things into it, including, coming on the show for our fun guest segments. But thank you to everyone who is a patron. It supports our show like nothing else. It's the reason we can do it full time. So thank you so much. Sign up today at patreon.com/Raiders of Lost Podcast, or click the link in the description of this episode.
And this episode, of course, is sponsored by our friends at movieposters.com, the #1 place to get your posters online today. Be sure to use our promo code Raiders10 at movieposters.com to get 10% off your order right now. They have a huge selection of pretty much every movie and TV show imaginable in their poster library, as well as all sorts of sizes, framing, and even backlighting for your poster needs. They also do our bi-monthly movie poster giveaway contest. Calvin just won this previous contest. Congratulations, Cal. Glad you won this one. He's been trying for months, and it worked out.
I'm trying for years.
For years, yeah. His villain origin story is over. He can be a hero finally. They also
He was just calling and just breathing on the line because he wanted a poster so bad.
Every time Calvin lost, he would DM me like a meme of the Joker. And otherwise, movieposters.com is high quality. They look amazing. They're very affordable, especially with our promo code Raiders10. So be sure to use that promo code at movieposters.com to get your discount today.
Now let's get into the intermission, everybody, and begin with our movie quotes competition. You ready, Anthony? Ready, listeners? When you love someone, You've got to trust them. There's no other way. You've got to give them the key to everything that's yours. Otherwise, what's the point? And for a while, I believe that's the kind of love I had.
Oh, shit. Can you say it again?
When you love someone, you've got to trust them. There's no other way. You've got to give them the key to everything that's yours.
Casino. You got a pretty good De Niro impression at the end.
A little wise guy.
Great quote.
For a while, I believe that's the kind of love I had.
All right, here's mine. I'm not the guy you kill. I'm the guy you buy. Are you so fucking blind that you don't even see who I am? I sold out Arthur for 80 grand. I'm your easiest problem and you're gonna kill me?
Say it one more time.
I'm not the guy you kill. I'm the guy you buy. Are you so fucking blind that you don't even see what I am? I sold out Arthur for 80 grand. I'm your easiest problem and you're gonna kill me?
I don't know.
Michael Clayton.
Oh, Michael Clayton.
It's after a pharmaceutical company tries to kill him by blowing up his car, but he wasn't in it.
Yeah,
they didn't
with
understand
the horses,
that
right?
They didn't understand that he's a fixer, and they could use him to fix their problem.
Yeah, his car blows up, and then the horses run by, right?
Well, he parks his car
To see the horses.
see the horse, and walk up to it,
Gotcha.
and then it blows up. So he should have been in the car. The way they timed it.
I haven't seen it in a while.
It's really good. Tony Gilroy made it.
Moving on to, guess this movie release year, Anthony. What year did Platoon come out? 6?
Way off.
Way off, man.
Oh my god.
You thought The Karate Kid came out in 1994 and Platoon in 92?
I'm all over the place. Don't talk to me about 80s releases. That's my weakness, apparently.
We found it, everybody.
Okay, what year
every week, I'm going to ask 80s questions.
I'm never going to get one right again. What year did Oh Brother, Where Art Thou come out?
2000 and... It can't be 90s. 2002.
2000. Close.
I didn't even... Excuse me, sorry. I forget what I was going to say. Moving on to movie pop quiz time. Anthony and listeners, who directed L.A. Confidential?
Fuck. I never remember this guy's name.
It's just like that movie that everyone loves and it's so good, but it's like, who the fuck made that?
Who made it? Because it's like a one-hit wonder director, right?
Not really. I mean, kind of. He's made, I would say, two good movies. This is his
Standout. Yeah. I don't know.
Curtis Hanson.
Curtis Hanson? What else has he done?
Oh. Sorry, something. He did 8 Mile, The River, Wild, Wonder Boys, In Her Shoes, Chasing Mavericks, Lucky You, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. But yeah, L.A. Confidential is exceptional. Exceptional.
It's phenomenal. All right. George Clooney co-starred with Jennifer Lawrence in what movie?
Clooney and Jennifer Lawrence?
Co-leads, not just like
Whoa.
co-leads.
Whoa.
You don't know this movie?
Wait.
Clooney, Lopez.
You said Jennifer
Lopez.
You said George Clooney and Jennifer Lawrence.
I said Lopez.
No, you said Lawrence. Even I said Lawrence back to you and you said yes.
Whatever I said. It's Jennifer Lopez.
See, you almost said it again.
George Clooney, Jennifer Lopez.
Okay. This
In what
helps.
movie?
This helps a little bit.
I can see the confusion. I can see the conundrum.
I was like, what movie is Jennifer Lawrence better than George Clooney?
I understand the conundrum.
Lopez and Clooney in a movie together. Huh. That's a good question.
Maybe you'll give us a good answer.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Because, I mean, she hasn't done a ton of movies in like the last decade, but she was huge in the 90s, early 2000s doing a bunch of rom-coms.
Well, I will give... it is romantic and it is comedic. It's not a rom-com, though.
All right. She's in a bunch of romance films. I don't know.
Out of Sight, directed by Steven Soderbergh. You don't know that? Oh my God, you would love it.
Hold on, let me Google
You
this.
would love it.
Sounds
They get
super
locked in
familiar.
a trunk in the first act, remember? It's them two in a trunk.
Oh my god, I remember this movie. The poster.
It's really good.
Let's check it out.
I think you'd like it.
Good question. It's definitely not Jennifer Lawrence. Now, Anthony, do we have any Raider haters this week? Any hate comments or any good unsubscribes? What do we got cooking?
Oh, we always got plenty of hate comments.
What do we got?
We got...
It's okay, man. Take your time. Nobody's waiting or anything.
Okay.
It's definitely your budget.
Blaine's 9656 wrote, Vienna is in Germany? Unsubscribed.
Anthony thought Vienna was in Germany.
Geography is not an expert trait of mine.
And they do speak German in Austria, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I believe that.
Austrian's not a language. No.
It's not a language?
They speak German. Well, if it is, it's not the most spoken language. It's not the main language
Is
there.
Austrian a language? Austrian doesn't have its own official language because
German.
So it's mostly German. Yeah. That's why I'm not
Well, it's
involved
okay,
in
man.
politics.
You live in America. You speak
Yeah.
American. It's fine. They speak Canadian in Canada.
Speak American out here. It's the language of freedom. That's it for our haters because we just recorded yesterday, so we went through a bunch. Yeah.
It's all good. We have a great 5-star review.
But I came up with a funny meme idea though.
Let's hear it.
I realized that every troll online, whether it be Twitter or TikTok, Instagram, all the trolls, they're basically the physical embodiment of them is the guy in Good Will Hunting at the bar with the ponytail.
With the ponies, the long hair, yeah. I mean, that's kind of true.
It's coming because they act like they're know-it-alls, even though they're just copying someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
And they're hating on someone just to hate on them.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point because there's no way people would say the things they say on the internet in
Exactly,
person.
yeah.
Like what that guy says in the bar is just like
And it's
so
always with such a pretentious air. I was like, it's exactly like what they are embodied.
All right, we have a great short 5-star review from an anonymous person.
Hey, thanks, Anonymous.
Amazing. Really feels like I'm having a conversation with my friends. Well, we want that experience for you. We appreciate that. That's what it feels like to you.
Question: what is exactly an ampersand?
Here, I'll show you.
Is that the 3 dots?
It's the and.
Oh, the swishy and.
Yeah, the swishy and. Why did you just say
That's all you had to say.
Why did you say swishy
That's all you had
and?
to say, bro.
Anthony, he's so knowledgeable about very specific things, but then like, what's an ampersand? Oh, the swishy thing.
It's exactly it. It's like I'm like Sherlock Holmes. I just
Language in Austria? It's probably Austrian, right? Vienna is in Germany? Yeah, right. But ask him about a movie that came out in 1956. Oh, well, it was directed by Steven Stanhouse, and it was written by Jeff Kalinske.
Jeff Kalinske.
Polish filmmaker. Yeah, came to America and made 17 movies in 2 years.
Kalinske. Oh my god, it's funny. I'm crying. Oh man, that's
What's the
good.
capital of Montana? Helena.
Don't ask me about capitals, bro. Anything geography related, leave me out of it.
We found out recently. Now,
Oh my god, that's funny.
what's your streaming recommendation, Anthony?
I recommend The Perfect Storm. Max.
Wicked Pissa Kid.
It's I just felt like a Boston movie.
Oh, you watched it recently?
Oh yeah, I watched it last night. And it's not amazing, but it still works. It's about fishermen from Boston who go on a
Gloucester, right?
Gloucester. They go on a dangerous fishing journey because they're all desperate, and they go into a risky area that's known to have very rough storm weather at this period of time. But they're all desperate for money, so they're taking the risk.
They had a crappy season.
Yeah, very bad season. And unfortunately, timing worked out where 2 huge storms, one's a hurricane, one's like a tropical storm, are colliding, and they end up in the center of it, and it causes. That's where the name of The Perfect Storm comes from. But it's a solid movie. Wolfgang
Puck?
No. Wolfgang, whatever his name is, directed it. He's a good director. Clearly, I'm a big fan. Wolfgang Peterson directed it. It just came to me.
There it is.
But it's got a great cast. You got George Clooney, John C. Reilly, Mark Wahlberg, Diane Lane, who, oh my God, I had the biggest crush on her as a kid.
A babe in this
Oh
movie.
my God.
It's Mark's girlfriend, right?
Yeah, his girlfriend, and then there's just a ton of great small bit actors that have become very respected actors nowadays. And
John C. Reilly.
yeah, I said Riley already.
John Hawkes.
John Hawkes is in it. He's great. William Fichtner is in it. Amazing cast. But it's got a great score from James Horner, and the CGI is really good. It looks fantastic. It has aged really well.
It's a good movie.
It's fun.
It'll make you cry.
Yeah,
it's the
tragic.
characters. It's really the
Yeah.
characters.
And everyone has a Boston accent except for Clooney.
His is okay.
No, he doesn't even do one. He
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
even
right.
do it. I think they just were like, don't even try it.
Some of them are a little over the top.
Mark's is the only one that really works.
Yeah,
'cause
I
it's
mean,
real.
It's natural. It's a solid movie. Now, my streaming recommendation is Spotlight. We both picked Boston movies.
Spotlight guy.
On Amazon Prime right now. It's about the massive scandal that we lived through as seeing these headlines in the Boston
Unfortunately,
Globe.
James.
I should have said that. Should have said that. Should not have said that.
I'm glad that you're able to talk about it now.
I think Anthony broke himself. Anthony's broken.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
He started red. Anthony Tomato.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
I meant as a community. As a community, we lived through this
Gotcha.
Spotlight, the scandal with the Catholic churches that y'all know about now. But it was wild because we were kids, and every couple weeks in the Boston Globe front page would be like another priest. It was crazy.
Everyone was talking about it. Yeah,
spotlights the story about the first revealing case about the situation.
they found how widespread it was.
And how it was getting covered up. It's horrible, but the movie's excellent.
Won Best Picture.
So well acted.
Directed by Mike McCarthy.
Wolfgang Puck.
He's a talented guy. Very talented guy.
Great pizza, man. Great pasta. It's my favorite airport spot to go. Wolfgang Puck to go.
For an $18 turkey club. Thanks, Wolfgang.
That someone spit on.
They can charge whatever they want at airports.
Yeah, they
and
really can.
I hate it.
A Gatorade's like $76. They're like, if you want a Gatorade, you got to pay for it.
You
can't-
wanted to bring liquids in? Sorry.
You can't. Yeah, you can't do that.
You wanted to bring water? No.
My body is like all water. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
Not our problem.
Not my problem.
That's not an us problem. That's a you problem.
American airports is so ridiculous. You can bring anything except for water.
Unreal. Oh my
Not
God.
anything, but you know.
Yeah, gotcha.
You can bring chicken parm in.
Yeah.
You can bring a chicken parm sandwich through security, but God forbid you have a little can of soda.
Unreal.
Get it.
Unreal.
You get a backhand to the face. What's the matter with you? You can't bring root beer through security. Could be a bomb. Take those shoes off, American. They could be bombs. Take them off.
Oh my God.
You always know Americans in Europe, if they're traveling, if they're American, because they always take their shoes off in the security lines.
When they don't have to.
Whenever I'm traveling in Europe, because I learned that fast. I'm like, I keep my shoes on. I'm like, look at those stupid Americans over there.
You're
As I'm an
like
American.
elbowing a French person. Like, look at what a fucking idiot. Not us.
Meanwhile,
man.
I've done it. We've done it all. We've all done it before. Anyways,
Oh my
let's
God.
get back into the episode. And
Since we're laughing and giggling,
let's talk about comedy. And obviously, I mean, Jim Carrey was the king of comedy in 1994. We'll bring up one of the movies that we had in. Oh wait, we didn't have any of his movies in the top 10. We'll just start with his though. He had.
yeah, we did. Dumb and Dumber was in there.
Did we put Dumb and Dumber in there? Oh yeah, no, that was in the top box office.
Gotcha.
So, Jim Carrey, y'all know, had 3 massive hits in 1994, which is absurd to be an actor, not only just an actor, but a comedic actor. 3 incredibly different movies, characters that no one ever created, just invented characters that are so fascinating. But 3 massive hits: Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and The Mask. What a goddamn year! And obviously, he became one of the most famous actors alive after 1994.
What's your favorite out of the 3?
Out of the 3, Ace Ventura.
I would say Ace Ventura 2, Dumb and Dumber second, and The Mask 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But also, I fell in love with what's her name in The Mask?
Oh, Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. So she's like 20 years old in that movie.
I would say The Mask is great, but it just doesn't have quite the same quality throughout the rest of the film.
But it's
as
cool
the other
because it's
two.
got like a
Yeah.
sci-fi supernatural component to it.
But it's crazy to have two films so high in the box office for one actor to lead them. And he's the thing with Jim Carrey is he is the movie. It's not an adaptation, it's not an IP, it's not like a ensemble. It's him. He is making it work. So that's what's so impressive about his success, especially in 1994. And I saw this great Jeff Daniels interview recently he did talking about getting cast in Dumb and Dumber. Studio didn't want him, producers didn't want him, Farley's and Jim wanted him. And what they did was they finally got the studio to agree to cast Jeff Daniels. And he was getting paid peanuts. He got paid $200K. Like, he barely got paid. He had become a very respected dramatic actor, but for comedy, they were like, "What? Jeff Daniels isn't a comedian." But he understood the role, and Jim Carrey really believed in him. So what they did was they filmed one scene with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. Casino scene. It went really well. But then what happened was they changed the schedule around, and then Jeff Daniels filmed by himself every day for the next 5 days. And what he was doing the sequence where he's trying to court her without Jim Carrey in those scenes. You know what I mean? Yeah. That entire sequence. They filmed all of that. I'm sorry. The first thing they filmed was the motorcycle with getting frozen with the pee. Just go, man. Just go.
That ain't a motorcycle.
Yeah. What do you call that?
It's a little bike.
A little bike.
Motorbike.
So that's the first thing they filmed. And then Jim Carrey, they changed the schedule. Jim Carrey didn't film for the rest of the week. It was all Jeff Daniels every day. And it got him thinking, this is basically an audition. They're having me shoot the bulk of my stuff to see if I can do it without Jim in the scenes and if I can really pull this off. And so he filmed that entire week just by himself, his solo scenes. And then the next day, and then for that following weekend, he was like, I'm going to get a call. They're going to say I'm fired. I'm going to get that call. They're going to say don't come in on Monday. But he never got a call. And then he showed up on Monday. And in the morning, he was in the makeup chair. And then Jim Carrey goes up to him, pats him on the shoulder, and says, "You're doing great. Keep it up."
Oh, that's really sweet.
And so then they got back to their normal schedule and gave him confidence that, okay, I belong here.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great comedic actor. I bet he's just a really funny guy in person, and I'm sure that's why they're interested and thought he could do a good job as Harry, right?
And Lloyd. Is that his last name?
I think so, Lloyd Christmas.
And then Ace Ventura is just one of the best physical performances. Same thing with The Mask, but there's something special about Ace Ventura. He's just so dynamic and incredible.
Design of the character and everything.
The hair.
We should just do an episode on Ace Ventura.
We should, yeah. Have we done a Jim Carrey episode?
We did,
We did a Jim Carrey episode, yeah. Actor Spotlight.
No, we did Truman Show. That's what we did. Spotlight. Because we never really talked about Dumb and Dumber before, or The Mask.
True, yeah.
Let's do Pet Detective soon.
1 and 2.
Everyone loves it.
The opening of 2 with the monkey.
From Cliffhanger. It's a raccoon, Anthony.
The raccoon.
Well, the monkey's there.
Yeah,
right?
the monkey's there, yeah. The raccoon, oh my God.
Hang on! It's such a messed up opening to a movie.
It's crazy.
Like, they wouldn't do that today, like kill a raccoon in a movie.
No way. But it works, man. It's funny as hell.
All right, next up in comedies, we have Ed Wood. We talked about this in our Tim Burton Spotlight as well as our Johnny Depp Spotlight because it's a movie that Tim Burton made and Johnny Depp stars in, playing the director, the eccentric director, Ed Wood, basically kind of a biopic about him. It's very funny and dramatic. It's an excellent film. Highly recommend it.
Next up, we have The Paper, which is a Ron Howard film with a stacked cast of Michael Keaton, Marissa Tomei, Randy Quaid, Glenn Close, and Jason Robards. It's about an editor at the New York Sun, a tabloid paper. He's facing financial cuts. His pregnant wife pleads with him to get a more respectable job so he can spend more time with his family. It's a pretty solid film, directed by Howard and written by David and Stephen Cope, who have gone on to be very successful screenwriters in the past couple decades.
Facing financial and paper cuts. Terrible joke. Sorry, there's something in my throat.
Yeah, let it out, man. Take a sip of water.
It's like so congested right now. I don't know what's going on.
It's the change of season.
It must be. Or also there's a fan blowing in my face. That might be it as well.
Definitely not. And an AC above your head.
Yeah, it can't be that. Now, moving on to Airheads, a Brendan Fraser-led film, also starring Adam Sandler, where he plays the lead singer of a rock and roll band who will do anything to get his music played on the most popular rock station around. So what do? They hijack the studio. They get their song played. It's awesome. It's funny. But it's also kind of just super rock and roll.
It's a great comedy. It's awesome. And for any fans of rock, it's like a great rock movie.
Awesome concept, too.
Yeah.
Awesome concept.
Genius concept. Back when DJing for the radio was like a big deal. It was a very cool job. And like they were like the celebrities of their towns.
Now podcasts took you all over, baby.
Yeah, baby.
See you later, radio.
No,
radio's still big.
But yeah, this doesn't. Yeah, we're not like on Sirius or anything. But Airheads is awesome. I love that movie. We've seen that a lot. I guess I'd say definitely over a dozen watches of that movie since
quite a few.
In childhood.
10. You've watched Airheads 12 times.
Yeah.
How did you have time to watch Airheads 12 times, Anthony?
I'm 33, bro.
I've seen the movie like 3 times, maybe.
No, we saw that a lot when we were kids.
I think you just replay things in your head when you were like a little kid going to bed. Just like movies that you watched. 12 times Airheads?
Yeah, like once a year.
No one's seen Airheads 12 times. Not even Brendan Fraser has seen Airheads 12 times, Anthony.
I believe that. I mean, yeah, he acted in it.
Yeah, I've seen Ed Wood like 16 times.
What year did The Mummy come out? 1999? Okay, yes. He was just straight up comedies for the most part until
like Tarzan.
Anyways, we're moving on to an auteur director. Danny Boyle's first film, like I said earlier, Shallow Grave, which came out in 1994, stars Ewan McGregor and Christopher Eccleston, also known as the Doctor. When an accountant, doctor, and a journalist are searching for the fourth roommate of their trendy flat, they settle on the aloof Hugo. This is a fun little comedy about living with weird people. Definitely check it out. Awesome directing, very creative film.
Next, we have Major League 2, the follow-up to Major League, which is one of the best baseball movies out there. It's a terrific comedy as well. Major League 2 basically takes the Indians after their excellent kind of come-from-behind season the previous year when they went from worst to almost first, basically. They're now basically World Series contenders. Everyone's kind of coming back. But, they've become complacent. Their new owner interested in winning, so they kind of got to get the fire started again. And Wild Thing's got to come back and save the day.
Wild Thing, you make my heart sing.
Maybe that's what I'll do for Halloween this year.
That's a great costume.
That would be fun.
That's an awesome
one. But I have
one.
to have my hair like that, or maybe I can find a wig.
Just wear a hat.
Maybe I can find a wig. Yeah, I'll do a hat.
Yeah, you don't have to change the hair. Just change your hat. But
then
I'm not sure people will get it without the Indians hat.
Yeah. The hair because he does the
lightning.
It's like the
zigzaggy.
Yeah, the zigzags on the sides.
I don't think you have to. I think people will still get it.
If I went to a barber, they'd be like, "What is this?"
That's a great costume idea. I could see Charlie Sheen.
I got kind of like the Charlie Sheen hair sometimes.
I think you kind of look like Charlie Sheen. Remember that time we saw him on the street?
Yeah, we saw him in Sherman Oaks crossing the street, and he was so tweaked out. He looked like a goblin.
Yeah, he looked like he weighed like 90 pounds.
But he had this crazy smile on his face.
It was like 12:30 at night. It was wild. It was so
we were like lines and
we were like, is that fucking Charlie Sheen?
We were at a red light.
Next up, we have Naked Gun 33 and a third, The Final Insult. This is one of the best spoof franchises, and I mean, they just poke fun at everything. It's a lot of fun. The title is ridiculous. Leslie Nielsen is an all-time comedic actor. Really perfect and made these films work. These are all always a fun time. And Priscilla Presley was actually in this film.
I've never seen the next film, Bullets Over Broadway. It's a comedy starring John Cusack, Diane Wiest, Jennifer Tilly, and Chaz Terry. It got an Oscar win for Best Supporting Actress. Oh, so it won Best Supporting Actress for Diane Wiest.
Great actress. I've never seen that either. All right, next up.
You know how I feel about John Cusack, though.
He's your least favorite actor. What is it about him that you just don't like?
I don't know, man. It's just something about
Rubs
him.
you the wrong way.
Yeah, man.
You
Like,
see him? What is
yeah.
it? Is it his voice? Is it his face?
You can't put it on like one thing, dude. It's
just everything about him.
Think about John Cusack. Like, he's in some good movies, but like sometimes I'm just watching him like, I can't watch this guy right now.
What about Joan Cusack?
Joan's excellent.
I feel like they're just so similar though. Like,
It's John, man.
James hates John
I
Cusack.
don't hate him. I just don't enjoy looking at him. I don't know what it is, man.
I think he's great. I think he's a solid actor. This is a great interview of him where the interviewer thought he was a different actor, and she asked about, like, how was it working on this movie from, like, 2 years ago? He's like, I wasn't in that. She's like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I wasn't in that.
Yeah,
She's like, are you sure it's not you? She's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not me. It's so funny. Next
Wouldn't
up.
you believe him?
I know. How do you not believe the fucking guy? He's telling you it's not him. Unreal. Next up, we have a Coen Brothers film, The Hudsucker Proxy. This is an awesome movie. Tim Robbins, Paul Newman, Sam Raimi, Jennifer Jason Leigh, John Mahoney. Really, really fun movie. It's about it's them tackling the business world. It's really bizarre, really surrealist. Tim Robbins he had a huge career in the 90s, and this is one of his best performances. And this is a really underrated film for the Coens that people don't really talk about.
Our next film is directed by a very underrated director, Penny Marshall, who made A Renaissance Man, which is starring Danny DeVito as a businessman who takes over kind of the teaching of a bunch of recruits in the Army who can't pass basic training. It's funny.
I remember this.
Yeah, Penny Marshall, she was on fire in the 90s, man. She did A League of Their Own. Awakenings is an excellent film as well. Her filmography is stacked.
Great career. Yeah. All right. It's time to move on to the family-friendly segment of our 1994 breakdown.
Y'all are going to love this. The family section from 1994 is insane.
This is like an all-time. This is what makes 1994 one of the greatest years of all time, is the family movies.
I think that's why when people look back or they think about some of the movies that came out this year, some of the best movies when we were kids. Not The Karate Kid, Anthony. That was 1984.
All right, first up, we got Little Giants, which is about a little football team. It's so cute. It's just a great little kids movie. Very funny, adorable, very sweet. I just love this movie.
It's
as a
basically
kid.
the Bad News Bears with football.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because then a
girl
girl
joins
comes
the
in, she's the
team.
best player on the team,
Yeah.
just like Bad News Bears.
They just took that archetype. And also the dads are the coaches. So the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is the coach of this team, and the rival team's coach is like a hard ass. And so they're always having like that rivalry, which is great. I love it.
Next, we have The Santa Claus, which I think is probably the best Santa Claus movie in terms of like not just like the franchise, but like movies about Santa Claus.
Yeah, I
It's
think
up there.
Tim Allen's Santa Claus is the best.
I think he's the best Santa Claus so far. I mean, and Kurt Russell, I think.
Well, Kurt Russell's a great Santa, but I saw some of that movie and it's not it, man.
Yeah, and he's just too cool to be Santa. But I think this is like the best version of Santa Claus. And it's a classic. It's a banger. I mean, it's funny. It's just like, what would happen if a normal person had to become Santa Claus? And I love it. It's funny.
It's a great Santa movie. It's a great Christmas. It's a top tier Christmas movie. All right, next up, we have an iconic film for children in the 90s. This is legendary. And it's one of the most legendary characters of all time. Of course, I'm talking about Richie Rich. So, starring Macaulay Culkin as a kid who becomes super wealthy and just starts spending money like crazy, buying shit and bossing people around. It's really funny. This was a VHS we had for sure, and it's a fun movie. And it's very similar to Blank Check,
It's coming up next.
which also came out this year as a theme.
Blank Check is awesome, but also there's a weird kiss in this
Oh my
movie
God,
that I
it's-
think has not aged well at all. It's pretty odd. So Blank Check's about this kid, y'all remember, who gets in a bike accident and then gets control of a blank check and starts to spend $1 million from it and starts
$1
buying
million isn't even that much money.
in
That's what's
94,
funny.
yeah, but in 94 you could buy a good amount
Yeah,
of
but
stuff.
the amount of stuff he was buying, it's like there's no way $1 million is going this far with these
I mean,
mansions.
bouncy house and
The
renting
mansion.
renting a mansion.
All right, renting, maybe.
For a month, dude, for
All right,
sure. You
all
can,
right.
you can rent a mansion for a month for like $100K.
Okay.
I mean, he spent the hell out of it. He spent it all. But then he doesn't realize that gangsters own it's like belongs to gangsters. And then he has this weird relationship with this older lady who like they like have a romantic kind of relationship. It's odd.
She's like into him. I think they were going for a big vibe,
Yeah.
but the thing about Big is she didn't realize he was a child.
Inside. But he still, like, looked like an adult.
He was a grown-up. She thought he was a grown-up.
Yeah.
She thought he was a childish grown-up.
She thought he was a 30-year-old man.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas he's an 11-year-old boy, and she's a 27-year-old woman, and it's just odd.
And he looks like a little boy.
But it's kind of one of those, like, this is like the dream to have 14.
I understand they were trying to do like a sweet little thing at the end, but it's odd.
When I was a kid, I was like, oh, yeah.
That's my dream.
My man.
My man. Oh, my God. We got another kids movie, D2 The Mighty Ducks Part 2, starring Emilio! With most of the returning cast. Joshua Jackson was one of the kids in the Mighty Ducks.
No way.
He was one of the kids. He's like the lead kid, the best player.
Holy crap, you're right.
Yep. Wild, right? These are his first movies. The first Mighty Ducks is legendary. This one's a solid sequel. It's not as good, but it's still a lot of fun. Hits all the right beats of a sports movie, especially a kid sports movie. But Emilio is just iconic as the coach.
Then we have Little Rascals. What a classic, because they kind of like took a lot of tropes from romance films and like put it just with a bunch of little kids. And it really works. What's the era this movie takes place in? It's like the 1960s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so basically Alfalfa, the lead, he gets a girlfriend, but then all his friends try to sabotage the relationship because they don't want him to be with her anymore. Darla.
Bad friends, by the way. Very bad friends.
Makes for a funny movie, but this is a classic, man.
That's her name, Darla? Oh my God, I remember that.
Alfalfa
with the pointy hair. It's funny, whenever I see someone with the hair standing up, I always think of alfalfa.
Well, that's basically, I wonder if it's like an official word in the dictionary now, like that's called an alfalfa.
Maybe it's inspired by an alfalfa sprout.
No, yeah, but I mean, like, because a lot of words from cultural things like movies and TV shows and books become official words in the dictionary. I wonder if that's an official word now. Let me check. Let me see if
alfalfa.
Is word for the hair sticking up.
Better be. All right, next up, we got another sequel to another children's classic. We have the sequel to Three Ninjas. This time, it's Three Ninjas Kick Back. This was iconic. We got Colt, Rocky, and Tum Tum, these three little boys who are trained by the Grandpa Mori, and they fight bad guys. It's a great movie, and the sequel is pretty solid. It's just a fun little franchise. If this is a franchise that's prime for a remake, I think. This could work.
I think it could work. I really
could work.
Because they're so obsessed with rebooting things. I mean, Three Ninjas.
It's a great concept for kids.
I would watch a Three Ninjas movie.
I feel like they could really make a great new one. There's a lot they could do with it that could work really well. That's a fun kids movie.
Tum Tum was my guy. The reason why I loved Twizzlers when I was a kid, it was my favorite candy, was because Tum Tum ate Twizzlers all day.
They made 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. They milked this one.
Gotta milk it.
I don't even think it's any of the returning cast in the fourth one. Just Victor Wong.
Next up, we have The Flintstones, the live-action film that we talked about earlier. Real quick. Came out. The original Flintstones cartoon was 1960, and they made so many comics as well as cartoons. It was just a success for such a long period of time, and they finally made a live-action film in 1994 starring John Goodman.
What was Flintstones? What company was it?
The movie?
Was it Warner Brothers? The show.
ABC.
ABC. Gotcha. All right, next up we have a live-action adaptation of Clifford, starring Martin Short as the dad. It's a pretty fun little family movie.
Martin Short plays the kid. So it's about an 11-year-old boy who's obsessed with dinosaurs, but Martin Short, who is 40 years old
You're
at
right,
the time,
he is the kid.
plays the kid.
It's
Do you remember this movie?
Charles Grodin plays the dad.
Yeah.
It's basically like the Robin Williams movie where he's a kid, where he ages fast, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
It's kind of like that.
But not really, because but they just cast him. It's not like anything sciencey weird or anything about it. They just cast a 40-year-old actor in the role just because why not? Like, let's see what happens. I think it's kind of interesting, and I remember
if you're gonna have someone do it, it's Martin Short.
I remember this movie, man.
It's a fun experiment for a comedic actor to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
To just be like, let me just play the role of a kid. It's like Wet Hot American Summer.
Kind of, yeah, exactly.
Exactly the
yeah,
concept.
It's just like that
Yeah.
because they're all like in their
The sequel.
30s.
I'm not the first one, the sequel.
Yeah, even the first one, they're all in their late 20s, dude.
Yeah, but still, they can pass as counselors, kind of. But the sequel they made a few years ago, they're all in their 40s and they're still acting like 16-year-olds.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's where it's the same concept.
Kind of. Yeah. It works in the right situations.
Yeah.
And I think it's fine for this movie because I remember watching this as a kid and it worked. It did. I mean, imagination is a powerful thing, and he's such a great comedic actor. He's a legend. Next up,
Martin Short's one of the best. One of the best.
Next up, we had The Jungle Book. I totally forgot.
Live action.
They made a live-action Jungle Book in 1994. Holy crap. Who was in this movie? The poster is terrible.
Terrible poster.
That is a horrible, horrible poster.
They only spent $27 million on it.
Jason Scott Lee played Mowgli. And then John Cleese is in it. Lena Headey's in this. Carrie Elwes, Sam Neill.
Sam Neill's in it. Sam Neill's the
Fleming?
colonel. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, God, I can't believe this.
It only made $43 million on $30 million budget.
Yeah, it's a hard movie to pull off in the 90s without any CGI really available.
Yeah, did they? I think they just went with the animals with no mouths moving.
Yeah,
with voiceover.
they did just real animals with voiceover.
Holy crap! I remember this movie. Look at Sam Neill with the mustache. That's an awesome stash.
I cannot believe Lena Headey was in this movie that I watched growing up. I guess I always wondered thought she looked familiar from Game of Thrones.
remember this.
The tiger scene, I remember that.
The poster is horribly photoshopped. It's like as bad as a Photoshop job as the My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Like the head of the guy who plays Mowgli, it does not match his body at all.
Definitely not.
Definitely from a different photo.
All right, then we have another sequel to another children's classic, The Neverending Story 3. I'm not sure I completely remember this one. Jack Black's in this.
No way.
This has a 3.2 on IMDb, 26 Rotten Tomatoes, made $5 million on $25 million budget. 3.2 on IMDb is pretty low. I've never seen this one. But The Neverending Story 1 is fucking legendary.
Yeah, it is.
If you have not seen The Neverending Story, watch it. And if you have kids, show them that movie.
I still think about that movie. If I ever got a dog, like Falcor is a top name I would pick for my dog.
Or Atreyu.
Yeah, or Atreyu, or Atreides.
Or Baron Harkonnen. Come on, Baron Harkonnen. Leave the tennis ball alone, Baron Harkonnen.
He just floats around in his suspensors.
His dog suspensors.
You have a wonderful kitchen, Dad.
Come on, Baron Harkonnen, come on.
And then to finish up comedy, we have Anthony's favorite movie from 1994, The Next Karate Kid, a classic. So this one, we have Pat Morita coming back as Mr. Miyagi, but this time he goes to Boston for a military reunion, but then he starts to train Hilary Swank's character, Julia Pierce, for a karate competition.
Classic. It's better than the first. No, it's good. It's good.
It's fine.
It's good.
It's kind of like the same movie.
It's like Karate Kid is one of the best kids movies ever made. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's a reboot of a. Yeah.
Love Karate Kid. Cruel summer, cruel summer,
Dun, dun, dun,
leaving me here on my own. It's a cruel summer. Dun, 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 dun. That's a banger.
It's a banger.
I fucking love that song.
When we did our episode on Karate Kid, Anthony was blasting that in his car for like weeks.
For a week straight, it was on repeat. It's really catchy.
It's a banger of a song.
It's a
Cruel
really
Summer,
good song.
Banger.
Really good song. All right, next up, let's move into horror. And horror was not quite as strong of a genre as the juggernaut that we know of today.
Not much to talk about.
However, there are still some legendary filmmakers making movies in that genre, John Carpenter being one of them. And 1994, he came out with In the Mouth of Madness, starring Sam Neill. This is a really cool, bizarre movie. It's actually getting a lot of recognition lately online, which I'm happy to see. Not very successful, not hugely seen, but it's solid, it's really fucked up, and it's really bizarre. Sam Neill has been in a couple of really great horror films. Possession's another one, and then this one as well. It's really awesome acting.
Next up, we have Leprechaun 2, the sequel to the classic Leprechaun, which was Jennifer Aniston's first movie, right?
Yeah.
Now this one has Warwick Davis coming back as the Leprechaun. He's in Los Angeles, and I believe he's trying to find a bride, as his previous object of affection was denied to him 1,000 years before in Ireland. So he's back. to take over Los Angeles and find himself a bride. 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yikes. Next up, we have a Jack Nicholson movie where he becomes a werewolf called Wolf. So he plays a character who's bit by a werewolf in Vermont, and then his life becomes chaotic after that. Co-starring Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader, Christopher Plummer, and Richard Jenkins. What a cast.
Wow.
I remember I saw this not too long ago. I think a couple years ago. It's pretty good. Mike Nichols made it. He's an awesome director. This is one of his lower tier movies, but it's still pretty fun.
And finally, we have a Paul Schrader movie called Witch Hunt, which I have not seen, starring Dennis Hopper, about a twisted 1950s where everyone does magic. A private detective investigates a murder case without magic.
And then we have one more major animated release called Pompoko. This is about, I've never seen this, but it uses the creatures of myth as his heroes. It's a beloved folktale with a bunch of characters that are viewed as bringers of fortune with shape-changing abilities. This film, their forest home is threatened by urban development, and to save it, they must use all of their supernatural talents. Very well-liked film. It's a 7.3 on IMDb, 86% Rotten Tomatoes, and then a 4.4 directed by Isao Takahata. I've never seen it.
And just one little thing to wrap it up.
I'm so glad you put this in.
My favorite music video of all time by Spike Jonze, Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. It's so funny. If you've never seen this music video, look it up on YouTube. It's a blast. It's not only one of their best songs, but the music video is silly. They're just basically, it looks like a video you make in college class, like in a video production class, where you're just messing around with your friends making a music video. They have terrible costumes, and they're just basically like detectives running around Los Angeles. They must have had like $50,000. They like rented a couple cars, and they just went around all over LA, peeling out and just jumping off buildings, and it's so goddamn funny. They're detectives trying to find like drug dealers and stuff like that. It's hysterical.
He's an all-time music video director.
Yeah, he is.
Wow, that's a great year of movies. I can see why a lot of people say it's their favorite, because there are a lot of iconic, legendary films in this list.
And I will say, after doing 1999, I don't even think it comes close to 1999.
I would say, as impressive as 94 is, it's not as deep as 1999.
Yeah, you take 20 of the best movies out of 1994, and you're not cooking with much, but with 1999, you could take out 30 movies, and you still have a great year.
Still got a good sauce.
Yeah, you got a great sauce.
I agree. And 1994 is another, like, all-time year, but 1999 seems to be the best we've done so far. So far we've done 2017, we've done 1999, we've done 1994.
2014 or no?
No, we did not.
That's when
we should do 2019 was great.
We should do 1976
and 75. 75 was actually better than 76.
It's Jaws, right?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of years we can do. We should probably do 1984 for Anthony, because it's his favorite year of cinema. The Karate Kid came out, his favorite movie of all time.
I think that if we do this once a month, it's a fun little segment.
It is.
Yeah,
it's a blast.
Fun. Yeah,
because we get to talk about so many movies.
Yeah,
and they're full of nostalgia.
And you forget about them.
Yeah,
because we watched so many movies when we were young that we forget about them.
Yeah, and Anthony watched every one of these movies 12 times. I mean, who knows how we grew up with them? I mean, I don't know how you had time to do anything. Watched Airheads 12 times apparently. I don't know how the fuck he did that. Even the editor was like, bro, after 10 I was done.
Imagine if I had Letterboxd back then.
Imagine if you were a kid now on Letterboxd. You'd be such a snob.
I would be a snob.
You would be a Letterboxd snob, man.
Although I would actually have like a following. It would have been my chance of being cool as a teenager.
Maybe you'd have like 17 followers.
No, I would have had a pretty good Letterboxd account.
Probably. But yeah, I love doing these years in film. Let us know what years we should do, everybody.
What's your favorite movie of the year?
Of this year, it's Pulp Fiction.
Same, Pulp Fiction. But I'm fine with Shawshank winning Best Picture.
Yeah, it didn't though. Forrest Gump won.
I'm great with Forrest Gump winning Best Picture. Oh my god, all over the place today. I am all over the place. I'm totally fine with Forrest Gump winning Best Picture for 1994.
Yeah, don't forget, Anthony, Vienna's in Germany, right?
That's a tough Best Picture year.
That is.
Pulp Fiction, Shawshank, and Forrest Gump in the same fucking year. That's wild.
Quiz Show is like a contender.
Man, that's a tough year to pick Best Picture.
Sure is. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to 1994, a year in film on Raiders of the Lost podcast. Definitely share this episode with your family members and friends. It's the best way to grow our podcast. It's to share us with everybody you know who loves film and TV. You can also
sing it, baby, sing it.
You can also leave a 5.
You gotta sing the whole thing now.
You can also leave a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We love it. It helps us get seen. And then become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost podcast.
You should do that every time.
Every single time? If people sign up for Patreon, I'll sing my fucking ass off. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
This episode was executive produced by our chosen one patrons, Cody Moen, Andrew Hagan, Becca Keene, Benjamin Cook, Calvin Murphy Griggs, Nicholas Martin, Darian Singleton, Tyler McFly, Andrew Hagan. Our chosen one patrons are our biggest supporters. Thank you so much. Raiders of the Lost podcast is a mirror image production. Sound mixing done by Jacob Kossler. Opening music by Chase Jackson.